Hello everyone. Today we're going to be covering the general user interface for Photoshop, as well as some basic functions you should be familiar with as we begin work within Photoshop. The and here's the thing that will best serve you in this assignment and future assignments and this class and honestly the world as a whole will be a sense of curiosity. Experiment with different tools within Photoshop as we kind of introduce them, and then maybe look up tutorials on Google, YouTube, or even TikTok. You can learn a lot by seeing how other people use this tool and even just by like messing around. That's how I learned a lot of Photoshop myself. Photoshop is a really robust program, and in this class, we're really only going to be scratching the surface and teaching you like the fundamentals and like really building a really strong base for you to continue learning as you continue in this program and continue forward with whatever career you're going for. So let's get started with getting familiar with the interface. So first, we're going to introduce you to one of the free stock websites that we'll be using frequently throughout this class to give example photos. It's called Pexels. And Pexels is a really excellent website and resource whenever you need photographs for assignments, for projects, and I've even used it professionally sometimes. It's where different photographers will upload their work, and usually, as long as you give them some written credit somewhere, sometimes not even that, you can use their work without having to pay them any fees like you might have to, like with other stock websites, which is really excellent for students and for like indie and small businesses. So today we're going to be downloading Lavender Field by David Bardis. All you have to do to download this is click the green button labeled free download. Uh, then once we have that downloaded, we'll want to open up Photoshop. If you've opened up anything in Photoshop before, you'll see this big screen, like at your home screen, where it'll show all the things that you've opened up beforehand. But if you haven't opened up anything yet, then you won't see that, and that's perfectly fine. And so now we'll want to open up Lavender Fields. There are various different ways to do this. I go over a lot of them in the transcript in Canvas, but I'll just be doing my preferred method in this video, which is I'm going to then open up I'm going to open up my downloads folder in Finder or File Explorer, depending on whether you're using Windows or Mac. And then I'm just going to drag my picture over into Photoshop. And so all you had to do is click and drag it from the Finder or File Explorer window into the Photoshop field, and it'll automatically open it. Also, if it's a PSD file already, which this one is not, then you can simply double click it and it'll automatically open in Photoshop. So with this picture now opened, I want you to note the 5 key parts of the Photoshop workspace. The menu bar, panels, toolbar, the document window, and the options bar. And there's also something called the contextual taskbar, which will show up as we go into more tools, and we'll mention them in future assignments that kind of focus more on these different tools. But you might see it pop up here and there. So the menu bar is at the top of the screen. It shows the different menu options for Photoshop. You've probably also seen the menu bar at pretty much any application that you've opened, whether it's like Chrome or Spotify or really anything else that you've opened. You'll see this menu bar, and it's different for each program. So Photoshop has one of those too. This is where you can see the various different options that you can mess with. And yeah, we'll be slowly introducing what each of these options does, but maybe experiment a bit with it yourself. So panels by default are on the right side of the workspace. In the default workspace essentials, which is what we're going to be working primarily in, these should be color, properties, and layer. There are many other panels that can be added to the workspace, which can be seen under the window option in the menu bar. The color panel allows you to quickly navigate and select different colors, either by using a color picker, pre-made color swatches, pre-made gradients, or patterns. The properties panel allows you to adjust different settings for whichever layer you have selected. We'll be covering this a little bit more in future lessons. This comes up most often when using like adjustment layers, text layers, and shapes, but pretty much any layer will have some sort of property to adjust. And then there's the layers panel, which allows you to see and adjust your layers, as well as gives you access to different layer options. This is also where you can manage your channels and paths if you need to. The toolbar is present on the left-hand side of the workspace. This contains your common tools you will use to manipulate images. If you look at these little icons for each of these tools, you might notice that there's a little tiny arrow in the bottom right of most of these icons. This notes that there are other tools in each tool group, which can be accessed by either pressing and holding left click on the icon to access that alternative tool menu, or you can also right click the icon to access it. Many tools also have an associated keyboard shortcut to them. You can see the shortcuts by right clicking on a tool and noting the letter next to the tool name. Like, for example, if we right click on the brush tool, you'll see that the shortcut is simply B. And if you go familiar with these shortcuts, you can actually navigate through Photoshop really quickly. So the document window is your main workspace. This is where your image shows up. Note the top of the document window where there will be tabs open. This allows you to manage multiple files in one instance of Photoshop. You can see this in action by opening up another file in Photoshop, and it will appear as a separate tab in the window. And then the options bar appears at the top of the workspace, below the menu bar and above the tabs in the document window. This offers different settings for your currently selected tool. We'll be going over what options are within the options bar as we kind of go over each tool. But again, experiment, be curious, and you'll figure it out, I'm sure. So now we're going to discuss how you can best navigate your image. So first we're going to talk about zooming. There's a bunch of different ways to zoom. My most common one that I use is simply pressing, I think it's Option on Mac and Control on PC, and then using my scroll wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out. And sorry, I had to check because it's just so much of a muscle memory thing now. And so I don't even really remember which key it is. I just know where my fingers go. And it'll become like that for you too. And so that's my preferred way of doing it because it's easy. I have all these things at my hand, but I do cover over a few other ways of zooming in the transcript in Canvas. And then you also want to know how to pan or move around your image. Don't do as I do, where I, got the muscle memory for just zooming in and out of different areas. You want to probably learn how to do it properly, in which you can just hold down spacebar and then you can click and drag to move around your image. It's really easy, and I'm trying to get that muscle memory in me right now. So with kind of being able to move around an image, let's go into learning how to save an image. And this is a note. I know that this class right now is, well, if you're in an online class, this doesn't matter to you. But if you are in person, then this does matter. And so I want to just note that if you are in person and you're in a lab class where you're working at a lab computer, if you save your stuff onto the hard drive there and then log out, you will lose your work. I had several students last semester who lost their work because they saved it and they forgot to upload it to the cloud. And so just remember, if you're working on a computer at Mesa Community College or any computer that is not your own, you'll probably want to, once you're done and you've saved your project, you'll want to upload it to your Maricopa Community College Google Drive. And that's just so that you have a backup and so you can transfer it easily between devices. But with that said, let's just get into saving. And so there's a bunch of different ways to save, as there's been a bunch of different ways to do like pretty much everything. The way that I tend to do it is pressing Command plus S, which is save. But you can also just go up to the File menu and then go down to Save. You also see there's some other saving options such as Save As, Save a Copy, and all those kind of do different things depending on what you need. And so again, experiment with them. And one of the important things to note is by default, when you do just a Command S, a simple save, it will save as a PSD, which is a Photoshop document. And that's a document that saves all of your layers, and it's very easy for Photoshop to open and read. However, you can't really share PSDs on social media or through Canvas without other people having to download it and then open it in Photoshop themselves. It won't show up in your browser, no matter what your browser is. So you want to learn how to export things as web-safe formats, which the most common ones are JPEG and PNG. JPEGs, the difference between them, pretty subtle, but JPEGs typically are smaller in size but don't have any transparency, while PNGs do have transparency but tend to be a little bit larger. And so you'll want to choose which one of those depending on your needs. by default, for a lot of our projects, we'll probably be focusing more on JPEGs when we have to share it for like discussions and such. But the way you actually create these is using the save a copy function, which is uh, option Command S, and then you just when you have the save uh, window pop up, all you got to do is select JPEG or PNG from the format drop down before pressing save. It's pretty easy, and you'll get a lot of mileage out of learning how to do that. Okay, and so once you're done kind of navigating through the interface and you feel pretty familiar, then go do the quiz below, and then I'll see you for the next assignment. Best of luck, and I hope to see you again soon.